All right, and we are live. Welcome back to Lesson Plans to Laces, the podcast where we take modern educational topics and spin them through the eyes of two sneaker teachers. I am James Alidor. I go by It's Jalidor across all social media platforms, and I am joined today by my wonderful co-host, Mr. Guzman. Mr. Guzman, talk about yourself a little bit, please.
Hey, I'm Mr. Guzman. I am a special education teacher in Los Angeles, and I go by Teacher Heat.
All right. This is episode 6. And today we're going to be talking about professional development because as we're heading back to school, most teachers are starting school this week or the next. And typically students come in about a couple days after those PD days are done. And so, Goose, I don't know how it is out in LA, but I haven't been a teacher for 18 years. I have seen a wide array of PD. And that's what I want to talk about today is what is the professional development world like in general? What are some good? What are some bad? Right? But man, sorry for everybody who was waiting for an episode to drop on Monday. I was not here, but I will tell you where I was. I was living rent free in people's heads about replica sneakers because let me tell you this,
Jesus.
that was a wild interaction. I love it. Goose, what did you think of the interaction, man? That was cool.
I thought that was exactly what. I mean, you saw my reaction when you said it. Like, I knew that was going to happen. I knew what was going to, like, it's a no-no in the world. Like, and I know the reason you said it was because it is a no-no in the world. Like, I
Yeah,
know that's where you were going, and you got exactly what you wanted at this point, right? Just
for
throwing
sure.
me in, just throwing me in there, and everyone else is just going off on both of us, even though I was just like, hey, man, I don't really care.
Dude, you caught so many strays. You caught so many strays. Except some people finally realized, like, when they watched the episode, that I'm the bad guy. Like, I was the bad guy making the take. You were not in favor, right? So
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
the
I was definitely not. I wasn't in favor of any like. I wasn't in favor of like roasting people over them. I'm not in favor of like replicas. Like, it is what it is at this point. But yeah, I think at this, even though we thought, or I don't know if we thought, but even though you thought
yeah.
that that might be a good take because replicas are so prevalent.
Mhm.
I think what we figured out is that the sneaker community is still very, very anti um, replica to the point where it's just like a big no no. Um, I thought the pendulum might have been shifting a little bit because of how much replicas had been around for a few years. I know there's people who were just like do replicas, but it looks like it is still a no, and I'm glad because I you got your guys, I got my guys, I guess.
There you go. Yeah, it was funny. I'm with you. I thought the pendulum would have swung in a certain direction. Prices and bootleg culture is a thing in sneaker culture. Like it's historically been a part of it, kind of like reselling. But like, man, it's good to know where we stand on this, though. Like it's good to know that the sneaker community does not have time for replica sneakers if you're trying to pass them off as authentic. I did like that was part of the conversation. So
Yeah, that's true too. The biggest thing is that people like the not the being inauthentic. It's having inauthentic. It's being inauthentic, right? It's like you need to know that you're wearing fake sneakers not to pass them off as authentic. I think everyone is okay with just whatever people want, but it's when people try to fake stunt that people really have issues with it, right? And I think that's one of the reasons why I said, like, for me, I would rather just not have the sneakers because fake stunning and being inauthentic leads to you yourself being inauthentic. So, um, I think I think that's where most people kind of like draw the line. Like, you can wear what you want, but you can't say it is what it isn't.
yeah, and then that's a fair take. So I guess I would need to amend my take at one point when we get a little further down the line that reps are okay as long as you're honest that it's a rep.
What
But I
about
guess
the
that mean I guess I need to just start wearing like if I ever wear rep sneakers, which for the record, my sneakerhead credibility, I do not own a single replica sneaker. So I would not have to do this. But if I ever were to wear a pair of reps, I would have to wear like it. This is a replica.
what about your panda take? I think that one did well too.
I think the panda take got a lot of engagement too, and it's really interesting because some people still hate the panda. Some people were coming to defend it, right? I think people hate it maybe not because it's popular. I kept seeing a lot of people say it's basic.
Yeah, but that means, I mean, that's one of the reasons why it's so popular, right? It's basic to the point where you don't need much more other than that. I just did the video on the back to school shoes, and
Mhm,
that is one of the back to school shoes. And one of the reasons why is because it is so basic. Like any kid could just put that on, and you can wear whatever it is you want with it. I mean, I understand a shoe being that basic and you not liking it because you are more fashion forward, but the
mhm.
shoe is doing numbers because of it. I mean, that's why it's popular. It's just a clean shoe to wear.
Yeah, and I can appreciate the hate that it's basic, but I think everybody needs a basic pair in their rotation. You need staples, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a branch of content that at one point I want to talk about, which is what goes in your sneaker closet first. It should be some basics. You should have some simple pairs, and then you can start experiment. Then you can start doing the wild silhouettes and the colors, right? But that's why I think the Panda is good. That's why the take was just because it's popular doesn't mean it's a bad shoe.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you on that. Like, just because it's popular doesn't mean it's not a good shoe. It means it's a popular shoe. Like, just because you want to be edgy and say it's basic and all this stuff, I mean, I would consider Air Force One basic at that point. An all white, it's the most basic shoe at this point, but it has all this culture and cachet behind it. But at the beginning of it, it was probably that shoe, right? Like it's just a white shoe. Panda's probably going to be there for some of this younger generation as well. Um, Vans, old school,
Yeah,
probably a basic shoe, but there's a reason why those are staples, and it's because they are so easy to wear. They're easily accessible, and you can just get them whenever you need them.
yeah. I love that you talk about the Air Force One all white. Poor Aaron's going to come into this chat once again and be like, "It's the greatest shoe in the world."
It is
He's
the
going to
greatest
be
shoe in the world. I never said it wasn't. I just said it wasn't my thing. Like it's not my thing, but I do understand that that is one of the greatest shoes ever made. And
yeah,
again, it is a very basic shoe. It's literally an all white shoe, but
yeah,
it has all these things going for it. I just don't know how you attack the dunk for being basic and can like say that these other shoes are not, because again those are staples. um, you can say maybe the history part of it, but I think the panda's well on its way at this point, right?
oh for sure, for sure. Well, and if you're new to the channel, if you're new to the podcast, then this was about episode 5 where we had some myth busting that we did where we talked about educational and sneaker takes that we actually thought were correct and then some that we thought that were incorrect. And you can go back and listen to those egregious takes that I have. I feel like Goose, you have the normal takes. I feel like I'm rage baiting our audience at one
I
point.
was just about to say that, but my takes are so like tame compared to yours. Like, but at the same time, when we were doing the videos, I knew that yours were like, oh, I was like, oh, this is gonna get us in trouble. Like he's always saying some like little thing that is possibly gonna get us in trouble. I don't want to say in trouble. I just want to like it's gonna make people react, right?
Yeah.
For the better or for the worse. But I think that's what you're here for, right? Like you're
Oh,
here
for
to kind of
sure.
push the envelope, right?
Yeah, it feels. I hung out with a student yesterday that had graduated 2 years ago, and he was like, "All right, let's actually have some convo. We'll call this session Alidor After Hours." And I was like, "Oh, that's creepy, but okay." And so he was just wanting like the dish on like teaching, like what is it like behind the scenes now that I'm not in the game anymore, and it was fun. So I like those kind of takes, and that's kind of what I want to do today is like give a take about PD from a teacher's perspective who's not in it anymore, and from one who's in it, because I think, especially if you're an educator and you've had to go through PD this coming week, there's a lot of stuff that makes you mad, and there's a lot of stuff that actually is helpful. And I think that's like a refreshing take, right? And so let's talk a little bit about PD, Goose.
Okay, first off, can you tell us what a PD is for people who possibly don't know what a PD? And we're just using that acronym at this point.
Oh, that's true. I'm really doing a bad job of leading in on this one. So my bad. See, already I'm gatekeeping. That's terrible. So
And you're a
PD,
teacher.
I know. Ah, dude. PD, for those that don't know, is an acronym for professional development. And typically, when teachers end their summer and school is about to get in session again, you have about a week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on your district and your levels, either high school, elementary, junior high, etc., where you come back. to your campus, and they're typically contract paid days. Some of them may not be, but it's your campus is open, and there are development sessions where they go over some of the initiatives for the year. Some of them are skills that maybe were carryovers from last year the principal or the admin team wants you to work on this year, and it's an opportunity, hopefully, for you to also set up your classroom, because I don't know that people know use that you have to take your classroom down typically at the end of the year. I know some people have different variations on that. Some teachers are asked to take everything off the walls and put everything away. Some teachers are allowed to keep their classrooms, but professional development, or PD, is those 2 weeks leading into school before students return where teachers get ready.
Yeah, and with us, it's not 2 weeks; it's a little bit less than that. We do PDs throughout the year, though. But essentially, a professional development is just a training. So just like you would go and train for your job throughout the year, for a lot of teachers, they do these trainings that are going to make you a better teacher, essentially. And at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, we also have those, but those are more led through admin and at your school site, where they give you the grows and the glows, and tell you all this stuff, and this is your why and all that, which is what we're going to get into. But
Ooh,
the biggest thing is that they're trainings to make you a better teacher, and so that you can communicate, so the admin can communicate with you where you're at and where you guys are going.
that's a good way to summarize it. I like it. Yeah. Now, before we get into anything deeper about it, do you guys use faculty meetings as professional development as well, or do you guys?
Yes.
Okay, because we did at my last site, and that was new. Previously, when I was in public school, faculty meetings on Mondays or Fridays, which Friday faculty meetings are the worst, by the way. The faculty meetings were just like news and notes, but at
Yeah,
my
no,
last site, it was actual professional development.
our faculty meetings, we end at about 2:30. Um, we do news and notes and all that stuff, but there'll be one or two PDs um, at those meetings, and we usually end at about 3:30. So it's
Okay,
about 2 30-minute PDs.
man, I need my last principal to hear that, because we would end at 3:05, and then we're in a faculty meeting until like 5. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
need that.
yeah.
I'm gonna
I
need.
mean, again, like high school, I have basically no knowledge on like secondary, but I know they end a little bit later because some of my colleagues would be coming in late to classes because they had a different schedule. So I'm not going to talk about them, but generally, you're in that meeting early day, and you're about an hour extra. So yeah, that's news, trainings, whatever it is you need to do. Sometimes you get to um, work on lessons or whatever it is, whatever you have time for.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, no, that's cool. But yeah, definitely cue somebody in the comments that's like, "Oh, you guys get out of work at 3?" So yeah, there's your rage bait for the episode. You're talking about 2:30. I'm talking about 3 o'clock. There we go. There you go. It's a
Yeah,
cushy
I
job.
mean,
It's a cushy job, fellas. Remember that.
yeah, we're about to start going. All right, so how do you want to do this? Let's run this down. I'm gonna give them to you, and then you are going to rank them.
Sure. Okay. So tell the people what we're ranking actually. Like, because
Okay, so we are going to rank. When you're on PDs, there's generally a kind of a schedule that all the people leading the PDs are going to try to hit, right? And these are some of the things that teachers don't like and do like. So James is going to give us his tiers of these things that I'm going to give him, right?
yeah, S tier, A tier, B tier, all the way down to F tier.
All right. So you want to start?
Yeah, go ahead. Hit me with
All right,
your
I'll give
first
you
one.
the
What
one
you
that
got?
we talk about. Let's talk about
Okay.
the icebreaker. So the icebreaker is essentially you get there. I mean, you've had the whole summer, right? And they're trying to get people talking again and all that. And they're gonna give you an icebreaker, which is gonna lead to you talking to other people, right? That's kind of what they want you to do to start mingling, getting back in the zone. Where do you rank the icebreaker?
I rank icebreakers in a D tier, because I'm a little bit of a curmudgeon when I come back those first couple days, and I
Correct.
also, dude, I'm an old man that shouts at cloud. Like, that's perfectly fine. I was in year 18. I ain't got time to go talk to the math department that I only talk to twice a year anyway. And chances are, the second they're like, go find somebody in the room that went on a trip this summer. And you're like, we all did that. Like,
Have
or
you ever done
nobody
the
did it.
bingo one? The bingo one where you had to find all these people? That one I absolutely despise.
It was assigned to me. Did I do it? No. I found a way to walk around for the 5 minutes that were there, and I found a way to avoid eye contact. No, so
So for anyone that's wondering, there's this icebreaker where you basically have like a whole sheet of paper, and each there's a bunch of little boxes, and they'll have like someone who traveled, and you have to go find someone who traveled,
Mhm.
someone who speaks two languages, and you have to find someone, but you can't use the same person, right? So you essentially have to go and talk to everyone,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of like you. I kind of like to just kind of stay to myself, and kind of like decompartmentalize that I'm going back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, well,
but I'm surprised it's a D, not a F. Why is it
Well,
not a
the
F?
re the reason I would rank it D tier, so I have my crew, right? Like, at every site I've been at, I've had my crew within my department, and especially at my last site, we were really close, and so we're gonna talk to each other about the icebreaker, but I'm not gonna go seek out somebody. So I'll tell you that it's D tier because I'm still gonna talk about the thing with my crew, but I am not gonna go seek out and find new people on day 1. I'm gonna be curmudgeon-y, and it's gonna take me a little bit before like, open up. Plus, and this is maybe just me. I like my department as it is, and so I don't need to go talk to other departments at that time yet. So I think it's forced. It's small talk, and so icebreakers to me are annoying. It's one of those things. But I do think it's helpful to talk to your department because if you enjoy your department, if you love your department, then yeah, an icebreaker could be cool. But it's D tier for that reason. I'm not trying to go hang out with other departments on first day.
And just for new teachers, um, if you show up to that first day of PDs and everyone is quiet and just sitting there, that might be a bad sign.
Yeah,
And
if you have a
if you
whole
show
building of me.
no, not because of that, but if you show up that first day and everyone's coming in with their groups and they're dapping up and they're laughing it up, you're probably in good culture, right? You're probably somewhere where a lot of people get along, and you're gonna be able to find a good like mentors and everything like that. Very welcoming environment. So these PDs, sometimes when you're a new teacher, they'll tell you what environment you're walking into, um, and that is very key. I will say this: anytime it's something like a small talk thing, I do not like it because it
Yeah,
just feels like busy work. So I know you're gonna probably say the same thing, right? If it's busy work, I probably don't want to be doing a lot of it, right?
for sure.
Yeah, anytime it's something that we're actually gonna get something from, those are the ones that I really like. But let's go to the next one. The
Okay.
next one is setting the theme and the vision.
Ooh, this one is gonna be an A tier. It's not S, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, but setting the theme for the year is A tier because as a faculty, you have to be on the same page and you need to know what the goals are for the year. Now, when you said setting the theme, are you talking about having like a cute theme like Finding Nemo for the year 2027?
Yeah,
That to
so
me, that to
I
me is
will
silly.
I will tell you what our theme is, which is hilarious because you're like, that is silly. But at the school I'm at, our theme for this year is growing greatness.
Okay.
So
See,
generally,
I don't hate that idea. That's cool.
yeah. So every year, and I don't know if you've seen this, but in the Last Dance, Phil, what's his name? I totally forgot his name.
Phil
The
Jackson.
coach, Phil
Phil
Jackson. Yeah,
Jackson.
shout out Phil Jackson, Laker great. Phil Jackson had a theme for every year. So in the Last Dance that year, the theme was the Last Dance. So I mean, I think people take that from him, so you can kind of remember each year, right?
Yeah, and it aligns people. So I see the point. Now, where it gets super cheesy is where I start to draw the line. Uh, I'm a guy in a female dominated profession and in a subject that is pretty female dominated as well. So every year that I have been in school, like as a teacher, there has been a push in our department to do like a shirt or some kind of theme for us. And it's always something that's like Taylor Swift related or like Golden Girls. It's like, bro, like That's not what I do. So I love
Oh,
the vision.
stop.
Like I love
Stop.
the
This is the
vision.
guy with the yellow duck boots, and he's drawing the line at Taylor Swift. No, there is no way. You go and you wear that Taylor Swift shirt, and you wear it proudly, and you put some shoes to rock with it, sir.
That is fair. That is
You don't
fair.
get to just you draw the
Look, look,
line at Tay Tay.
and low key, I am a Swiftie. I'm going to throw that out there. Like low key, I have to be. Low key, I have to be because of what I teach and where I teach. And man, this is one of the things. Like sidebar about Taylor Swift. I love when I have my male students in AP English because if I didn't have my boys in AP English, then it would be nothing but a Taylor Swift fest. I would have nothing to like bail out and
That's
help me.
true.
So shout out to the boys who take the risk to take some AP English because you help me. But no, the vision's big, and every year it does need to be a little bit different. I like the Phil Jackson metaphor because every year, if you're doing it right, then you've achieved something the year before. Even if that's a small win, you've done something to where, okay, now this year we're going to build on it, right? Or if you've maxed out, right? Like there's been some situations where we maxed out some metrics at a campus, and we're like, we called it a two-peat. We're trying to repeat. Back to back was our theme one year, and I loved it. Like that's okay. I can understand that. It's a redux. We're going to do it again. That's perfectly fine. And so I kind of feel like that's good. But you do need to know the vision. The reason why it's not S is like it can get a little bit cheesy and it can turn into the team building aspect more so than
Right.
like an alignment. And that's where it doesn't help me the whole lot because I was at a campus recently where you have like the dap ups. We had a great, rapport. So that's why it's A tier for me.
All right. So let's go on to another one. What about celebrating success?
Ooh, this is an S tier. This is an absolute S tier. And I got a lot of thoughts. Got a lot of thoughts about this. So
Go ahead, run it through.
look, this amazing machine of academic excellence runs on compliments. It runs on I run on attention. We talked about this with the duck boots. I run on attention and I run on the ability to acknowledge that when something's done well, it needs to be acknowledged. Otherwise, it didn't matter. And
Yeah.
so I have felt for years that if you don't shout out the teachers and the programs that are successful, even if they're largely an unsuccessful program, but they had a small win, then you need to shout those things out. Because otherwise, you're telling indirectly those people that they did not matter and that effort didn't matter. And this might hit you a certain way. It may not hit you a certain way. I've been at campuses where, because I teach G&T, the gifted and talented, because I teach AP primarily, those numbers often don't get announced. In Texas, a lot of times in public school, our star numbers are announced and our SPED numbers are announced, which are excellent numbers. But those of us that are teaching GT and have our own tests to apply to often get overlooked. And so I am a big believer in write your own narrative, make sure your success is heard. And I like when a principal or an admin team acknowledges everybody's successes and throws those out there. So to me, that's an S tier because it lets everybody know that they're valued.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. As much as people want to go in the comments and say that getting out of 3 is a easy job, teachers work very hard. And sometimes when you don't get that success, it's a punch in the gut, right? Because you've been working so hard and you weren't able to achieve the goals that you've set on yourself. But on top of that, you got to remember these goals are not just goals you're hitting; these are goals that your students are hitting.
Mhm.
And a lot of the times, being a teacher, you feel for your students if they don't hit those goals, and then it falls back on you sometimes because you think it's you doing a bad job, right? And if you don't celebrate those successes, you can kind of spiral into you not being a great teacher, which I don't think there's very many not great teachers. I think some of them kind of do things another way, but I think for the most part, everyone in the teaching profession is kind of there for their students. And if you don't get those successful moments, and if admin doesn't shout that out to you, you can start thinking that you're probably not as important as you actually are. So I agree. This is probably one of the highest ones. Everyone needs to be felt. Everyone needs to feel like they're special. And on another note, I just did the video with our paraprofessionals, and that
Yeah,
video took off. And this is one of those, right?
yeah.
I got so much love which is funny because I'm trying to give them love and they're giving me love back because they're like, we've never felt seen. We've never had somebody who's told us like that we matter. And this goes to that, right? Telling people that you're working with, like, hey, you are important to my success, and this is actually our success, is going to get those people to work even harder for our students. So it's definitely something that you have to add into each of those PDs.
Yeah, no, it's crucial, and I say they as if it's this like ephemeral thing, but like admin will tell you to have rapport with students and celebrate their wins, right? Like, hey, Johnny, great game on lacrosse the other day. I heard y'all won 7-1. Tell me about it, right? Like stuff like that. So it should reciprocate back on our end, right? Like we should be able to have the people that we look up to give us a little bit of shout out. I remember saying to somebody like, I didn't realize that you needed an attaboy for that, and it was kind of dismissive. But I need the attaboy. Like I need that because otherwise, what does it matter if it's the old if a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it? Like it doesn't matter. And I think that's crucial in education. We need the attaboy. So that is an S tier for me, 1,000%.
Yeah, and I don't want people to come over here and it's like, oh, we're whiny or anything, or teachers are whiny. But in any job, you need to feel like you're doing something that is going to make you feel better, right?
For sure.
If you're working construction, hey man, you did that. You did a hell of a job on that. That's all you need. So it's the same thing, right? Um, you need it everywhere. So we're not trying to say like teachers need this the most. We just everyone needs the attaboy, and it makes you feel good, even if you think it doesn't because you're the manliest man or whatever it is. All right, let's go to this next one. This is one of my favorite ones because I know you're gonna make a great clip out of this one.
Oh God, here we go.
Uh, what about the find your why?
Okay. Oh man, this is.
You
I need
know
to.
that's on every PD too, right?
Yes, I need to collect myself. I feel like Mark Ruffalo when he's like controlling the Hulk. I'm like, okay, because this,
I'm always angry. This is you
yeah.
right now.
Look, the reminder to find your why is an F tier. It is the lowest because it's condescending and it's toxic. It is the opportunity for somebody to tell any employee. We'll extend this outside of education because if you're having a bad day in any field and someone taps you on the shoulder and is like, "Yeah, but remember why you're here," that's really ridiculous. It negates the problems that you're having at that time. It's not helpful, and it breaks what I call the first rule of marriage, which is this a vent or is this a need for a solution? I just might be wanting to complain. Maybe my kids did not have a great day in class. I struggled. They struggled. I need a moment. And then when you hold on my shoulder and tell me, but remember why you're here, bro, I want to throw you out a window. Like that's just unacceptable. And if it's done at a PD, let's talk about it in the lens of PD because I think I kind of ran away from it for a second. If it's in the lens of a PD, it usually follows or precedes something that is about to be the most egregious thing you've ever heard. So, like, for example, I have been on a campus where they have extended your day, meaning, again, we traditionally maybe get out at 3 o'clock. They're like, this year, we're going to have to get out at 4 o'clock, and then you need to stay an extra 30 for your duty. Remember your why. So, you extended my day an hour and a half by 5 all week, right? 5 times, an hour and a half, and you're telling me to suck it up because of my why. And that's really frustrating. Or it's about to precede the most egregious lesson plan format. Hey, your lesson plans now need to be 10 pages long. Remember your why. Bro, it's so angering because it is condescending. What
That's
do you
so
think?
funny. You like kind of reference it as the I'm not racist, but I'm gonna say something racist right after it. Like
It is. It
something
is.
bad is happening when they're gonna say find your why, like or something bad just did happen.
Yes.
That is, I think that is the biggest gaslight in education, right? The find your why. Like you said, anytime someone's gonna say that, it's gonna be something crazy, either followed before or followed after. I understand knowing why you're there. I like if you're starting the year and you're kind of like, okay, remember the reasons you're there, but it's usually led up with all this work you're gonna have to do. And I don't want to be gaslit into just remember why you're here. I understand why I'm here. I know why I'm here. And we're valuable, but just saying find your why isn't gonna fix it, right?
Find your why and remember your why is one step short of you should be grateful you have a job. And I really hate that language because to
Yeah,
me, it implies that I offer nothing. It implies that the I'm talking about the be happy, be grateful you have a job implies I bring nothing to the table. It implies that this is not a mutually beneficial relationship, that I don't have a skill set that I'm offering you. The remember your why is the same way because it's basically saying what you do doesn't matter. You're here for a different reason. And that really is frustrating, but it is one step removed from be grateful you have a job. And I think that's the toxic work culture. You talked about new teachers earlier. If you see certain things, if you hear as a new teacher the remember your why invoked more than once in a PD, you probably need to start looking somewhere else because they're struggling to get people on the same page. And they are also about to announce some of the most egregious things you've ever heard in your life. Like it's about to be
yeah,
wild.
yeah. I think above all, the culture is the why, right? Like
Mhm.
you need to be somewhere where you enjoy going there every day, right? Um, to a point where you enjoy your students, you enjoy your coworkers or whatever it is. But going to that job and then having them tell you remember your why, it's not helping.
No.
The why
The only
isn't.
the only thing that's worse than that is if they ask you to say aloud what your why is. Like if it's a question that they take hands for and people talk about it because then they're going to announce the egregious thing that they're going to give to you shortly, but now you have to listen to some people do the most insufferable thing ever, which is to gaslight the gaslighter. Uh, and it's just this wild session. I've had that in a campus before where they've asked us, "Well, what is your why?" And it leads to some wild answers, which the obvious is the kids. The obvious is, helping kids learn. The obvious is getting helping kids understand new concepts. And then you'll have one guy that's like, "I like summers off." And you're like, "Okay, cool. You said the thing. We laughed, whatever." And then the principal announces that we have to stay every day till 7 p.m. and we lost our lunch and we're all gonna be here. Yay. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah. It has this undertone of like, oh, remember your why. Oh, it's for the kids. Okay, so this stuff you're doing, if you don't do it, it's you're messing up the kids. And in
mhm,
reality, that's not how it should be at all, right? And I know there's
nah.
going to be a lot of educators that absolutely hate this one because this one is like universally hated, right?
Yeah. If you're
Like
gonna
it's
do a
just
if you're gonna have to do a thing that we don't like, don't frame it. So shout out to admins listening to this. Here's my advice. If you are gonna do an egregious thing to your faculty, don't announce it after or before the remember your why. Just do it. Just rip that band-aid off and
Mhm.
we can be big boys and girls and handle it, but you're about to do the egregious thing and then offend us, bro. You will be a
Yeah,
very
and
short-lived admin.
we're professionals. Like, if we don't like something, obviously we're not gonna like it, but we're still going to have to go and do it, and we're still going to be professional enough to go and do it.
Yeah.
But kind of using that to kind of say this thing after is where we're like, you're not taking us serious, right? Like
Yeah.
it should just be you as the boss and us as the workers going, okay, this is obviously something that needs to be done anyways. So we're going to be professional about it and do it, but we don't have to really like it, right? That's just how professionalism works.
I appreciate it. Before you do the next ranking, I appreciated one of the principles I had at my last site. He would talk about things like this. He had negotiables and non-negotiables. There are certain things that we will do because we have to. They're non-negotiable. That's the stuff when he frames it that way. The other stuff becomes negotiable in the sense that it's okay, we can bend on this stuff. This is the secondary stuff. I like that. That's a better way to frame it than remember your why, goose.
Yeah, yeah, I 100% agree. All right, so we're going from probably one of the most least hated ones. I mean, one of the most hated ones to one of the least hated ones.
Okay.
And this one is going to be providing classroom time.
Hands down. Now, I give it an asterisk because I have been at sites where classroom time is not used well. Normally, I'll bring my laptop to my like fellow co-teacher, like we're on the same team, right? We're both teaching juniors, for example, and we'll start working and we'll get into it. And then all of a sudden, we'll kind of do what we're doing here. And we'll just find a topic and be like, you know, it's really funny. And then we close our laptops. And then you realize that you only really got 15 minutes worth of work done and you should have done differently. But it is crucial because, contrary to popular belief, there's a meme going around right now about how guys don't decorate their classrooms. My classroom is incredibly decorated. It is decorated with movie posters, book posters. I hang up student artwork throughout the year. I don't like blank walls. So, in a year where I take old work down, I'm preparing to put new work up. I'm rebuilding my classroom seating structure. I'm playing around with. So I actually think that that is the most important part because if used well, nothing is better than that. I actually can do on those days where I get my classroom set up. I will do like a dry run. Like I'll figure out my three teaching points of the year. Like where am I going to teach from the most, and then based on my class rosters, I can figure out where I'm at. So
You're such a
I'm
nerd.
oh dude, I love it though. Because here's the thing,
What
man.
a
I
nerd.
nerd.
And I love, we are so polar opposites because like everything you said, I am doing the complete opposite.
Yeah,
Figuring out where I'm going to teach from the for the whole year. You're crazy. What are we doing?
dude.
You're putting like a little X like Hollywood. Like
A little mental X, but yeah. I never taped it down with Scotch tape ever one year.
you you totally are. You
And
see, you're putting exactly for your videos in the classroom. You're putting exactly where the camera should be
oh,
with the Scotch tape, and then the X is.
that's another level.
Don't act like
That's
you wouldn't do it. That's why
uh,
my videos come out all crooked. It just set up and go, dude.
dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
No, I wanted to like interject here, but sometimes with this, a lot of time I know you said that it's not used correctly, but I would argue that sometimes you need that, right? Even though you're saying it's not like it's obviously not intended for that, but sometimes you just need to kind of decompress and say, hey, let's just shoot it for a little bit, right? Let's just have some fun. That's something you need because you're going back into the marathon, right? You're about to start. So yeah, I want to shoot it a little bit and talk a little bit, and that's kind of more the team building aspect where you don't have all these people you need to talk to. It's mostly just the people you're going to work with. And sometimes you just need to kind of, hey, how was the summer, right? Even though you could have done it at the actual PD, these are the people you're actually trying to build that relationship with. But yeah, this is probably one of the like the ones the teachers live the most because it actually allows you to get to work. I know you're at so many PDs sometimes where in the back of your head, all you're thinking of is, oh my God, my classroom needs to be set up, especially for teachers who have a lot of stuff, right? They're just like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to set this up. And there's teachers where if they don't get enough time, they are still setting up while you're starting the school year.
yeah. Whew. That's where I mean, to your point, I like how you said that's what we should have been doing, like in the other earlier part of the PD. That's what the icebreakers. If you eliminate those, we can use that time appropriately in the classrooms for the classroom time, right? But you're right. If you don't end up, because I've had it some years where moving campuses and I'm setting up my room and I didn't get everything I needed to done. I'm staying significantly later, or first day of school, I'm getting there 2 hours early to get ready to make sure that I'm good to go, right? Like, because man, first impressions are huge. And if you don't have your stuff on lock, it shows, man. I think that's where a lot of students lose respect for a teacher on day one is if you don't have your stuff on in day one. And for those that aren't in education and listening to this podcast, like think about your first day at your job. Like if you walked in and it looked sloppy, you feel a certain way. And it's going to take them a little bit of time to get that credit back with you. So
Yeah,
absolutely. Classroom time is huge. You got to be on lock those first handful of days, if not handful of weeks. And that's what that classroom time really is needed for. So it's an S
yeah, and
tier for me.
I think that's one of my things I'm gonna grow on this year. I've told you I've literally had to move everywhere at the start. So at the start of my career, I didn't find it beneficial because I was jumping to another school, jumping to another classroom. I'm moving everything. I'm just like, man, I don't even know if I'm gonna stay here. Like I'm gonna put all this work and I'm gonna get bounced back and like I'm doing all this work initially, then I'm getting bounced to another classroom. I had to do it again, and it's just very demoralizing. And this year is one of those years where I'm finally able to be in my classroom, and I'm gonna turn that thing into a little hype beast then. So,
I love
um,
that.
so yeah, so I mean, I don't. If anyone doesn't know what I do, I am a special education teacher, but I co-teach with teachers in their classroom. So my classroom, for the most part, doesn't get much use unless I'm pulling kids out and doing like a little intervention in there. So when I was told I wasn't going to use my classroom, I was like, well, why am I going to decorate it for? Right. On top of that, I didn't know if I was going to stay there. Right. So I'm just like, I'm going to
Right on.
decorate this whole classroom and then take everything out. But I am there. So this year, that's going to be one of the things I want to do. I want to make it a classroom in which everyone wants to go to, and kind of hang out. I got a few Supreme bamboo, like what
Ooh,
are they like
okay.
the rug? I'm gonna put that in there. I'm gonna just take all the stuff I have in here, and I'm just gonna use it over there. I'm gonna take my cause toy, and set that up.
Man.
I have a vision for what it needs to look like, and hopefully throughout the year I'll buy more stuff so that, like you said, the first impression, right? Before you even talk to me, you're gonna see exactly who I am. You're gonna see the sneaker teacher.
And I think, yeah, I love that you're making it a hype beast den. That's so cool because kids notice. I've had students tell me that like, oh, I love coming in here because as I was taking stuff down when I'm leaving my last site, they were legitimately upset. They're like, oh, the whole wall of soccer scarves is gone now. And I'm well, yeah, I'm bringing those home because I'm leaving the site. I'm moving, and so they grow to love that place. I'm excited for you on that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we'll make a video or something about it.
I
And
need I need to see the vision. I need to see the content of the vision with a plate
I'll,
with an X marked where you're gonna record. Like that's what I need.
I'll show you what it looks like before and after, since you're gonna be all triggered by the before, right?
Oh man.
This one I have never done in a PD, but um, I don't know if you have. And on top of that, I think it's one that definitely should be done. But you tell me, this one is mentoring programs.
Okay. I actually I got some mixed feelings about mentor programs. I've been through them all. I have both been a mentee and a mentor. So I got mixed feelings. I think so I'm gonna rank it as a C tier because I think it's really dependent on how you match the mentee and the mentor. When I was in public school around 2016, I had been at that campus for a little while. And at that stage, I had been a teacher since 2008, so 8 years. I inherited a mentee who was also a deep veteran. We effectively were the same person. And so that was a good matchup in the sense that they were in my department. And I was eventually that person took my prep when I left. So it was a great mentee mentor relationship. But the problem, I guess, that would come with it is that there was not a whole lot I could show them about classroom management or about like the tricks of the trade. I was showing them mostly about how do we do things at this site. Like this is how you put in lesson plans. This is how our day typically goes. And once they locked that in, it was great. Everything was fine. And that maybe took about 4 weeks. And afterwards, we were just friends. Now, the flip side of it, where I would give it an A rating, is I switched from public to private. And I went from public school to private school. It was new to me in a lot of ways. It was a parochial school, so it's religiously based. And I didn't get a lot of my questions answered effectively in the interview process. There was a lot of vague answers, and rightfully so, it's HR talk. But my mentor, who is now the department chair of that department at that site, really, and I consider him a dear friend actually because of our relationship through my mentor mentee program with him. He showed me how to do private school. He showed me how to do our specific clientele. He showed me how to elevate a lesson and just what the ins and outs are of that campus. And so I really valued that one. But I think what you have to do for a mentor mentee program to work is you have to find somebody as a mentor who is a lead or a master teacher. And you need to find somebody who's brand new to teaching or brand new to that site. You can't have somebody who are effectively the same people. Otherwise, it's just not effective.
Yeah, I haven't had this done in PDs when I was a teacher. Like they didn't have this whole like, hey, let's set up mentors. You're gonna take him under your wing. Like I've had to find my own mentors. Luckily, I've been able to. Um, and as a newer teacher, I would say this is something you need to do, right? You need to find someone who's been around and has done these things, especially in your own field, right? Like you said, in your department, because it is very, very hard. In special education, though, sometimes you're the only one in that department doing what your job is. So you need to find somebody in another school that's possibly doing that stuff so that you can actually know what to do, because there are laws and stuff you need to follow, and that gets very tricky. That's where people kind of get in above their head, right? Because this is part of like federal and state law, and
Mhm.
you don't know whether you're breaking the law or doing it the right way. And that's where people are like, "Oh my goodness, I'm gonna get like, they're gonna come and handcuff me because I didn't give them a minute, right?" And
Yeah.
you're all stressed out.
Yeah, no, and I love that you said if you're new, find mentors. When I first started teaching, I was teaching out in Las Vegas, and I had just exited undergrad. I was a little bit of an arrogant guy, and I thought I knew it all, and I ran some lessons, and bro, they torpedoed. It was horrendous. If I could go back in time, I would absolutely just beat myself up, like be like, get out of here. This is not going to work. And I had some people in my department. Shout out to Ricky Moss, Amy Pierce, and Jamie Taylor, because they watched what I was doing, and they came over and they're like, "So how'd that work out for you? That didn't go well, huh?" And I'm like, "No, it didn't go well." And they're like, "Do you want it to go well? Because I could help you." And I'm like, "Sure." And we became best friends, all three of us after that. Jamie was in my wedding. He ended up being in my wedding party, and those are people that are very near and dear. That at that stage of my career, I probably would have left teaching because I was doing stuff and it was not working. And
Yep.
so there's twofold to this. They sought me out. I had the humility to go, it's not working, and I'm here for some tough feedback, and they did. They gave me some very tough feedback. So I think it's a good thing that you need to find one if you are a newer teacher. That's why I think it works best if you have somebody brand new out the box, maybe 2 years in, because you've had some time to try some stuff. It's worked. It hasn't worked. You've had some success, and maybe you're hungry for a mentor, right? But I also think you can't have a teacher that's jaded, because I have been in a scenario where some people in your department are, a 1 year from retirement. And they're like, yeah, I'm just not interested in mentoring. And okay, well, that's fine. I know not to go to that person for advice, and that's okay. They're in a different place than I am. So I like that you said the new teachers need to. That's the point. That's part of the point of this podcast, is not to complain about everything, but to offer some tips. And I would argue that's a good tip.
Yeah. All right. I think we have time for one more. And
Okay.
this one is going to be kind of near and dear to me. And I don't
Okay.
know if you've done it. I know you've done the first part, but the second part, I'm sure you probably managed. But what about behavior management and social emotional learning, SEL?
Ooh, okay. So clarification. Is it how to do social emotional learning with students, or is it social emotional learning for us?
For students.
Okay. So if it's how to do the thing, then I'm good with it. If you want to talk to me about my feelings, I need a couch and I need some therapy. Like that's what I'm expecting. But
Where's it at?
well, it would have to be in the teacher's lounge with the vending
No,
machine,
no,
right?
no. I mean, where's the tier? What tier?
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I was contextualizing it. So I'm going to put it in a B tier, because I think it's a skill that's needed. And I also think it doesn't come natural to people. So you need that PD. At this stage of my career, I don't need that sort of PD, because I've had it before and I've done well with it. So I don't need it anymore. However, I think it's a crucial thing to do. So it's one of those where not every PD has to have everybody. Maybe that's one of my biggest complaints about professional development as a whole, is not every professional development session needs every teacher. So I think social emotional learning and behavior management is huge, because you need that at some point in your career. But do you need it every year? Probably not. Not unless a new strategy or a new objective has come through. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna take a little bit of a different perspective, because this is what generally I see with behavior management and SEO, right?
Okay.
It is something that's very, very important, right? Managing your classroom is going to be the end all be all, and it's gonna break you if you don't do it correctly. And understanding your kids' social emotional their social emotional health is also very integral, because sometimes they're not having the best days, and you kind of have to understand that. But what happens is that everyone knows how important it is. Then you get the PD, and everyone just starts rolling their eyes. No one implements it, and then you have some of the worst classrooms, right? So uh, I think a lot of the times when people are saying that they don't get a lot of help, sometimes that is incorrect, because we have these PDs at the beginning of the year and throughout the year where we're doing all this work, and sometimes you are so overwhelmed with everything else that you just throw this one out the window, right?
That's
Like
fair.
behavior management and social emotional learning is very, very key. But what happens when you're doing when you're trying to focus on that, and now they're telling you that you're behind on curriculum and you're about to have your first assessment? What do you do to social emotional learning and behavior management?
Oh
You
yeah.
throw that thing right out the window, and you get straight to work on the new thing, because those are the things you're actually being recorded on, right? So it is something very, very key, but I don't think everyone really takes it, you know, like it's not something they really take super serious, because all these other things kind of supersede it, right?
Mhm. Now, you made fun of me earlier for picking out my teaching points. This is actually part of my behavior management is I know proximity will work, and I know that working with certain students, teaching from where they are to the class. Like if I'm in a direction giving space and I need to be next to Johnny because I know Johnny is not going to be paying attention to me, that's a behavior management scenario. I've been through a few of them where a few of the professional developments with this that I've picked up some great skills. But I'll kind of volley a nice little counter to you. It's hard to learn those things without being kind of in the trench, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the problems with a behavior management or an SEL PD is typically it's coming from somebody who has a bird's eye view and they've not been in your specific trench. Um,
Hmm.
I
I
had
think you're right.
one year. I had one year called Envoy, and Envoy was an excellent training. I don't know if it's still around, but it was one where it taught the idea of when students come into a room, they need to have not an agenda necessarily, but a place to look for what materials they need, a place to know where this is, and a place to know where this, and basically organize your classroom to where they have looking points. And if they don't know what to do, then you can point back to those reference points. It's a very easy classroom management technique of this is where it is. Take a look, and then you can move to the next. So that way you can manage the behavior. You're not bogged down. And I spoke on an earlier episode about my success today means our agenda at the beginning of every class. That's where that came from. I adapted it from like when did y'all ever used to have kids write down a learning objective, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
learning objectives, like my success today means, kind of came from that because learning objectives I think are useless. Kids do not understand them, no matter what language you put them in, student friendly or not. So I at least do that. That's my behavior management scenario. We have to do that initially. And that also regulates a lot of my students that are a little bit ADHD or hyperactive, right? Like, hey, we're locked in. We're doing this, Johnny. Like let's take a look and go through here. So it is crucial. But I also think it's one of those intangible things that teaching kind of like you just have to get through experience.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably one of the biggest things. You have to, you kind of have to do it in order to understand it. The thing about doing it during the PD is that you kind of get like a little bit of a background, especially when you're a new teacher. You're just like, oh, these things I can do. Um, but even as a veteran teacher, you can still take something from it. And I don't think we put as much importance as we should on the social emotional aspect there, especially coming from a special education teacher. Because for me,
Sure.
it's like almost all social emotional, right? Like these kids are coming in with so much baggage that it's like my one focus. I mean, I've had just this past year teachers where like we're having issues with the student, and I'm like, well, what's happening at home? They're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, we're not doing it. So where is this coming from? Like, what is their social emotional being like? And they're just like,
Mhm.
ooh, I didn't think of that. And I'm like, we have to, because that's where these kids are getting this. So
Mhm.
just kind of understanding that is where I'm coming from. But again, it works kind of better if you're actually applying it or having somebody else kind of show you like, oh, where's this coming from? It's probably from home. Is there something going on with the family? Blah, blah, blah. And then you end up finding out that, you know, parents are getting divorced or parents separated
Mhm.
or whatever it is. And now you're like, oh, this is where that social emotional aspect comes in, where you can actually help the student and get them back on track.
So I think one of the I love how you put this, and it is crucial in every way. I think to add to that, when you are at a PD and you get like a ready-made box of tactics, that's hard because I don't know. I haven't seen the tactics put into press or like into motion, and I don't know how to do the tactics, but I'm being given a box. And
Yeah,
normally this precedes our find your why because now you're being told you have to do these directives and you don't know how to do them. I am two things I do not like when people do strategies as adults on consenting adults. So, like, hey, I'm going to do the classroom strategy on you guys. Well, of course, I'm going to be good. I'm an adult in a PD at my job. Unless I'm trying to get fired, I'm not going to flip a desk, right? I mean, sometimes, right? But the reality is that it doesn't work. So, what I would prefer in place of the PD is the opportunity to say, hey, Mr. Guzman does this behavior strategy very well. I'm going to use my and a district or a campus could work with this where they get a teacher to cover your class. I'm going to come to your class and I'm going to watch how this works. And I might do it
yeah,
two, three, four times. And that seeing it in action allows me to go, oh shit, that's how that works. Okay.
yeah.
And
I'm one of
then
those people too.
yeah, I would prefer that. I had a habit in my early career when I like I talked about those three teachers helping me out. That was one of the things I would do in my off period is I would go peek in classrooms and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And often I'd get invited in there just go sit at the back desk and watch. And because I'm picking up things, I'm trying to get better at this job. And it's to me, it's better than being handed the box of strategies because I need to see
Yeah.
them in action. And consenting adults are going to do right.
Another big thing for new teachers. Hey, if you wanna find some tips, go to people who aren't complaining about their job.
Oh, for sure. And
Go
that's a key right there where like let's say you and I share a student and I'm really struggling with him and I go to you and I'm like, "Hey, how is Johnny doing?" If you are not in the right frame of mind to answer that well and you complain about it, then that doesn't help me. Right? We're
yeah,
not here to rag on Johnny. I'm coming to see like how can I reach him better cuz clearly you've got some kind of relationship with him that works. Clearly you're reaching him and I need to know something or do something that's going to work. So yeah, shout out to finding other teachers. Shout out to talking to teachers that you have common students with. Otherwise, yeah, the SEL and behavior management is going to be off. So that's why it's B for me is I needed context.
yeah. And admins, if somebody comes to you and says they're having trouble, please do not say, "Well, we went over it at the beginning of the year PD." That is also condescending because they
Mhm.
need to see it in action. So instead of saying that, that's when you should do the Mr. Guzman does a good job. I'll go cover your class for a little bit and he'll either explain it to you or do a short lesson with it, right? Or this other teacher does a good job. Go see how, I'm gonna cover your class. You're gonna go see how it works. But do not just say, "Oh, we went over it at the beginning of the year. You should know it already." That's not how everyone works, right?
Nah.
That's not how I work. I do need to see like people do it, right? And that's not me doing it either. Like a lot of the times you go to PDs and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna have you practice it. Practice what I don't know. How does that work?" I
Yeah.
need to see somebody who knows how to do it so that I can, do it after them, so I can model it. I need the good modeling. Um, so I just wanted to advocate for some of our newer colleagues because that is something difficult. Like a lot of the
Yeah.
times, you know, you're like asking for help and they're like, "Well, we already went through that." And it's like all you do is you're just, kind of digging a deeper hole for them.
Yeah, an S tier admin would absolutely do the thing that you did where, hey, this teacher does this very well. I'll cover your class next Tuesday. You can go watch them do this. That would be an S tier move by an admin. And I would love to work at a campus that does that because then that's also an admin being in the trenches with you. They're not in the ivory tower just kind of assigning stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge one. There's a whole episode we can do about good admin, bad admin, and the way that that should be done. But that would be an S tier moment, and that would move my ranking of it higher if that's how it's presented. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, great. We're going to do an admin episode. You're going to get me in trouble since you're not even teaching anymore.
What can I say? What can I say?
All right, we have enough. I think we might have enough time. Is there one I missed that you wanted to bring up?
Oh man. So we did icebreakers. We did the find your why. Again, that is so condescending. Um, my thing, I want to offer this one on to you. I would say offering time for lunch off campus with your colleagues. Where does that rank for you on a PD schedule?
Um, I'm not big on eating lunch, but if people invite me to it, I'm gonna go. I see the positives of like people wanting to spend time with you, kind of like when you told me like, hey, let's do this podcast, right? Not something I'm really like wanted to do, but I see the benefits of somebody asking me and wanting to spend time with me, so I'm always going to say yes to that. Where it goes on the tier for me, it probably be like an A tier because I know that it is super beneficial to build relationships, and the reason it's not an S is because it's not something I would probably want to be doing, but there's a huge benefit to it, right? Um, if if this is sometimes like, could you imagine being a new teacher and they give you time to go eat, and you see this person that is probably a veteran teacher and everyone already respects her or them or him or whoever, but when they walked in the room, everyone kind of was like, "Oh, that's the one." And that person comes up to you and says, "Hey, we're going to go have lunch." Would you ever say no?
No, you should absolutely jump to that opportunity.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like for me, it's definitely not something I want to do. But if when that stuff happens, you have to just, hey man, let's. Where are we eating? I'll
Yeah.
probably buy at that point, right? Because these are the people that are going to make or break your career. And if you have time to build even more rapport and relationships, not even just starting your career, but midway through it, because sometimes you don't meet everyone, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I've been at sites where they cater lunch in, and that's fantastic. But I think I've also been at sites where they tell you, "Hey, go off campus and go hang out," because it is hard to be in the same building for 8 hours a day. Shout out to my students for doing it every day, right? I think that's cool. Yes, the catering in of a lunch is excellent, and I appreciate it. It means I don't have to buy a meal, and it means I didn't have to make anything at home. But the ability for them to encourage camaraderie and to do it off campus tells me it's an intentional thing for that campus. Whereas,
yeah,
hey, we're catering everything in means go grab your food like Pizza Rat and run back to your room. Like, I don't need that.
it's all right. And just to go back to that, uh, we hardly ever cater, right? And on top of that, the cultural thing, we are Latinos, Latinx, whatever you want to call it, Mexicans. So for us in the PD, it's generally a potluck.
Okay.
So everyone is bringing stuff. Like people are making pozole, menudo, enchiladas, like everything. And again, new teachers, if you are going, this is your first impression, first day, and you see everyone just bringing food and everyone's going, oh my God, those are the best enchiladas, those are blah, blah, blah. You are probably where you need to be.
Yeah.
Now, if you are at another school and they're bringing absolutely nothing and then you don't even get time to eat and all you have to do it is by yourself and no one invites you anywhere, that's probably a culture you're going to have to come into and kind of weave your way through it. Um, there are key details sometimes that'll let you know where you're at. I'm just trying to let people know. But yeah, for RPD on Monday, I'm taking. I found a local bolillo place. I don't know if you know what bolillos are.
No, no, no.
They're like kind of like a sandwich bread.
Okay.
But this place they stuff them with chorizo and cheese.
Bro, that sounds amazing, actually.
They are so good. So this is a super local place, and I love to support local places. So that
Okay.
is what I'll be taking about 10 to 15 of those for our first PD, and everybody else brings food. But that's kind of how you know, your relationship building, right?
Yeah, and that's why I'm a big fan. I love the idea of like the potluck. And, I'm a white boy. We don't do potlucks very well. We put raisins in our potato salad and stuff like that. Like it's bad. I don't. I married into a Cajun family, so I know how to do good food, and it does make me a little disappointed when the potluck doesn't go as it should. But Texas doesn't really have a huge problem with that. So that's the big thing. I just get more worried about like the parasite lettuce right now. That's why I'm not doing potlucks. Is I'm not touching the parasite lettuce at this point. I don't know. So, but no, it is, and food is such a like unifier.
Yeah,
That's why I asked about the lunch thing, because if you do potlucks, then it's a huge opportunity to see the culture of your campus. Some of the first campuses I taught at, I was the only white boy. I was a token, and so that offered me an opportunity to step out of a comfort zone, and that was huge. There was a local soul food joint that was amazing, and I was coaching football, and I was definitely a fish out of water for a lot of reasons culturally, and I was immediately brought in on that, and I loved that it was an opportunity to bring somebody new to a campus, new to an area, and bring them into what do we do here at this school. And so I've appreciated that. I've appreciated the opportunity for them to cater into. But again, I'm that person that like pizza rat. I'm just going to take it back to my room and just keep working if that's my time.
yeah,
So
yeah, and that
I prefer being told go to this thing off campus and go do it, because that gives me the chance to actually talk to people off campus.
yeah. I mean, we'll usually cater in, not cater in, but potluck in, and then we'll have time to eat, and that's kind of where we're all eating together. Um, and that's just kind of like more of a family aspect. So again, that is something that's like um, unique to my school because other schools didn't have it that way. But that's kind of where where you're at, right?
Mhm.
Another thing is that's your time to show out, right? You bring the bolillo with the chorizo and the
Yeah.
cheese in it. You're probably gonna be a big hit. Hey, this guy knows what he's doing. This guy knows what he's. Who brought the bolillo with the cheese? Whatever. Like that's where you get the shout out. So take those moments very serious. You don't have to bring everything, but bring something that you're gonna add to the culture or to people actually understanding that you're there to elevate the whole culture in campus, right?
100%. It tells you how they value lunch too, in the sense that, like, come school year, do you have a shared opportunity to eat together, or are you just going to be alone on your own, right? Anybody that's worked with me at my last site knows I eat alone typically because I'm rocking trying to grade through, or I have kids making stuff up because our lunch is kind of long. We have about an hour, almost an hour and 10 for lunch. So I have kids coming in to make up stuff all the time. So I'm working typically during my lunch. Anybody who's hanging out with me is kind of collateral damage at that point. But
Yeah.
like how people treat food and lunch, I think, is a massive indicator of culture. So that's another new teacher. I feel like this has turned into new teacher tips, which is an awesome thing because that's a huge aspect of what I love to do, man. Give the new teachers their shout outs and their tips. So,
Yeah, no, I think one of the hardest things is being a new teacher, right? They're the
oh
ones
yeah,
who, like you said, you have all these teachers who, some of them don't have the humility or the maturity to say they need help, but they'll be in
hmm
here looking for help, right? They're
hmm
just not going to ask anyone. So this is a way in which hopefully we can help some of them.
yeah, no doubt, and hopefully it's been helpful. This has been a good one. We didn't talk any sneakers, but that's kind of not the point of the pod though. Like I just as the shout out for PDs as we go back, right? Like the opportunity to actually try to get back into your craft is crucial. And even though we've ranked some of these things, S through F, I think it is important to still even go through those F tier things. Like, do I need to be reminded of my why? No. But if you don't have a why to be reminded of, that probably says something, right? So it's annoying and it sucks, but the reality is that it is a little bit helpful even if we hate it, right? Like that's the bitter medicine of our profession. So
Ye-
uh
ye-
yeah.
I didn't know about the why until they told me about it.
Oh man.
And
It's
then
it
I knew I had a why, but I didn't know that everyone needed one, right? And they're just like,
yeah.
"What's your why?" I was like, "What are they talking about? The why what?"
I think that got asked of me in my like third year, and I have heard it every year since. So
No, yeah, now
going
I
on
hear it every
15
year,
years
but before that, I was just like, "What are you guys talking about?" So yeah, it is sometimes you do need to be reminded of why you're here. It's just the way you go about doing these things is sometimes what makes them bad or good, right?
for sure. Well, this will be where we end the pod for the week. Hopefully, Goose, I know you go back. You said next week.
Yep.
And I'll be keeping an eye out for you guys as y'all head back. I'm not headed back this year, but I keep you guys in my thoughts and support as keep fighting the good fight, man. I love it. But hopefully, again, people have found something in this pod that's going to help with their PD navigation as you get those schedules these next couple of days. Like anytime you see classroom time, dude, take advantage of it. If you had thought about doing something for a potluck, or if you didn't want to do something for lunch, maybe this will, cook something awesome, show off the culture of the school, be inviting, bring those new teachers in, be a mentor, do those things for the new teachers in. And if you're a new teacher and you're starting your year, buckle up. It's a great ride. It's bumpy, but it is a great ride.
Yep.
So, all right. This has been episode 6 of Lesson Plans to Laces. I am James Alidor. You can still find me on It's Jalidor across all platforms.
And I am Mr. Guzman. You can find me at Teacher Heat across all platforms.
All right. Enjoy it, teachers. Stay classy. Peace.